As we drove by the first time I took my wife out here, they were all cattle. The road was gravel and it was all cattle. And I said, down here we could have a golf course. Yeah, right, she said.
My first memory of Willis is with a corncob pipe. He used to smoke a corncob pipe a long time ago. And back in 1976, I knew very little of him, and I don't even know if he remembers I worked for him in '76, because I was just back in the office and he was out doing road projects. And I'd see him come back and forth. I left them in 1977 after I'd been with him about a year and a half because I wanted to pursue a career as a CPA. And after I had gotten that and worked in two different CPA firms, I said to my wife one day, you know, I wished that I had first done my CPA work and then went to work for the Dunnings, because that's been the best employer I've had of all three. And then shortly after that, believe it or not, one of the office managers there, Phil Erfmeyer, called and said that they were starting this place out in South Dakota called Hart Ranch. And it was a campground, and that was an industry I was very interested in because it was outdoors, and I love the outdoors. And I interviewed with Norm Dunning, Willis's brother, and was offered the position and came in April of '84.
Yeah, it had been a working cattle ranch when the Dunning family purchased it, and portions of it still were. And then they started building a 195-acre camping resort in the middle of that, and also the arena.
At the time, our company was very restricted in what it could do. We were in the highway and heavy construction and in the Midwest, Minnesota, so our season was very short. And each year, we ended up completely out of work. So then the question is, would we get some for the next year? And we felt we should diversify. And we did two or three other things, and then this ranch was brought to us. And that's when we started to get excited about what it could be, because we were believing that a camping resort would offer people affordable vacations and could bring families together.
Started part-time in the summer of 1984, and then I went full-time in October of 1984. Well, it was very busy and very new.
We knew how to build, man. We bought this thing in November, and we had virtually had it built for sale in June of the next year. So we knew how to build. We didn't know anything about selling or how to package the product.
It was very exciting to see it happen, but the reality also sets in after it's been built, and then you have to make it work. And that took a lot of energy, a lot of people, and it took some very sound leadership on Willis's part to keep the boat afloat.
But the big redeeming factor for me was I knew that it was a value-packed product for them. Great value, and I knew that.
But it was very fun. It was very fun to be on the ground floor of a company, and it was very exciting. It was a business that nobody around here really knew that much about, so everything was new for all of us.
In the early years, we actually lived on the campground during the summers as I was a resort manager and dealt with the daily activities. And it definitely caught the attention of the campground industry back in the '80s because it was a first-class camping resort.
Well, it was a turning point. We were at that point where we had almost sold out the Hart Ranch, and that was the job. So it was a point of like, okay, now we know what we're doing and we've gotten good at it, and we found that we have a love for this business. What are we going to do now?
What we did is we took the experience that we had at Hart Ranch, and myself and Pam and Charlie, we sat down one day and just started talking about what we thought we could do. And in 1999, I had a relationship with Bob Varlick, the owner of Rushmore Shadows at that time. And I had been nurturing that relationship for about 3 or 4 years already, taking him out for lunch, getting to know him, because I knew that he was an older person, much older than I was, and he was interested in, at some point, being interested in getting out of the business. So what we did is we just sat down and we put together, well, we got the experience knowing how to generate tours, we got the experience knowing how to sell memberships, and we have it in the Black Hills.
We came out, and Gene first, and then Nancy, all the people working for Midwest Outdoor Resorts now came and stayed. So we did come into a support position, but those people that we mentioned, they built Midwest Outdoor Resorts.
Honestly, I think Willis did it for the three people sitting around the table more than he did it for the business opportunity at that point in life.
And I remember very well sitting at the table and him saying, well, I got a lot of businesses, I really don't need any more businesses. But because of the people sitting around this table, let's do it. We'll invest in you. We believe in you.
He had worked with us for 16 years, knew that we had put our heart and soul into the business. I remember he said, let's do this, he said, and we'll see what happens. And we funded it all internally through our own success.
There really wasn't much to Midwest Outdoor Resorts when we started. There was just Rushmore Shadows Resort, and when we first went up there, we just did we hadn't even purchased the park. We just did a sales contract with Robert Barlick, who owned the park at that time. And the sales were very successful. It worked out very well, and then we bought the park, which was amazing. And then we just started rolling from there, and then we bought Hidden Bluffs, and that's become an amazing park. And then we've added Soo Line and now St. Croix.
Since the day that we purchased Rushmore Shadows till today, it's just been an amazing transformation. And I managed Hidden Bluffs. It's just a wonderful place to go and stay the whole weekend and not go anywhere. Soo Line Trail Campground is just that, it's our campground. It's got RV sites and great location to Lake Mille Lacs and a lot of the other areas. And then St. Croix, which is our newest location, has cul-de-sac style camping, which is awesome. We put in cabins this year, which we do have at all locations, some kind of a rental, but our cabins went over huge and they've just been awesome.
Camping is one of those aspects where you get cozy, you share stories around the fire. There's laughing, there's this and that, and what I also love is that when you walk through there, it's, hi, how you doing? Beautiful morning. Can't believe it rained as much as it did last night. I mean, just, these people are ready to have a conversation, ready to interact, because, they're enjoying themselves. That's what our members love, and that's what we hope our future members will find in our membership, is the ability to be able to make those memories with their kids.
I love my job. I've always loved it. I've worked pretty much every position that you can work. It's probably the people. It's the family. I feel like I work for a family more than a company. I've always kind of felt that way, and they've always made me feel that way. All the way from Willis to Gene to Charlie. I don't even, he's like one of my best friends.
Early in my career as a CPA, I was all numbers orientated, but later in my career, I became much more people focused and people orientated in terms of providing the same opportunity for them that Willis provided for me. I really enjoy giving people the opportunity to become probably greater than they ever thought they could or would be. And that's just a real blessing for me to be able to provide opportunity for people to do that.
You come for the opportunity, you stay for the family atmosphere. You know what, you fall in love with the work, but you more fall in love with the people. That's what really binds everybody together, binds me together with the company, is that relationship it's way beyond just the 8 to 5 day that we work.
When I came back and was having my first child, my stipulation was basically I want to work for you and I will give it, as much as I can, but I would like to have set amount of time off with my family as well. And it's good to have that flexibility. It's been amazing, truly amazing.
There was a time when I wanted to leave and go on as the company was changing and moving forward, and I wasn't exactly sure where I fit in. And I had asked Willis if he would be a reference for me, and he said, is there something I can do to change that? And I said, I don't know. I'm looking to do a few different things, and in the end, I did end up staying, since I'm still here 15 years later. But he was very genuine, and he just said, if you need to be who you were meant to be, and if you think that there's an opportunity out there that is going to better your life and that's the direction you should go, then you need to do it. But I will tell you, if you do that and you find out it's just not what you thought it might be, come back. He would never ask you to do anything he wasn't willing to do himself or hadn't already done. He always talked to you like you were there to make a difference and that you were an important part of what you brought to the table, and you weren't more important or less important than they are. He needed all of us.
Well, I think the first thing that each one of us as employees needs to do from the top down is keep our eye focused on the mission statement, and that is bringing families together for a lifetime of vacation memories. And then yet as employees, get along with each other, each do our part, understand where we fit into the big picture, and then we as leaders need to allow our employees to fulfill that mission within their realm of expertise.
One thing I've always done, and I've, with Desi and Gina and the girls that have worked under me, I've always tried to get them to always have an employee leave better than when they came.
Their leadership, because of their faith, and my growth into that area has brought me to where I am. Even the smallest little thing affects another area of what we do. So if you're checking somebody in and they have a bad experience and they're going to go through a presentation, they're going to obviously not be happy at the presentation, which then affects that department as well. So being part of a team, everything that you do is extremely important.
This person is here, this is their one vacation. I know I'm doing the same thing I did for the last 4 people I checked in, but these people deserve that level of interaction.
I think that's one of our strongest attributes as a company, is that we've been here for a long time and we know what we're doing, we know how to treat our customer, and we keep our customers.
The future needs of the traveler, the camper, we've already seen those change. I think it's our job to make sure that we know that and we're always moving that direction. These people are here to have a great time. Let's let them have that.
We are going to continue to grow. It's just so important to communicate, have that open communication, have your door open policy. Always strive to do it right, always strive to be honest, always strive to have a great attitude and a smile. So I guess that brings you back to family. It has allowed me to be part of my family and allowed me to have my own family and be a part of their lives as well.
Gene is probably my biggest mentor, and Willis. Everybody strives to be like Willis.
But I do believe that we have to apply all the giftings we have from God into everything we do. In our lives, it's been pretty dynamic. So how does it come into play? Different for everyone, I'm sure. But I do believe that we have to yield ourselves to a higher power, and that higher power is God.
And I think without all of our faith, mine, Gene's, Willis's, Charlie's, everybody's, we sure wouldn't be where we are today, because it takes a lot of faith to keep going sometimes.
The company of Midwest Outdoor Resorts and Hart Ranch Development Company have been a huge part of my life for 32 years now. It's been a real blessing. Number one, work for a man you respect. I love what I do.
They were gracious enough to probably take some chances on me early, giving me the amount of rope that they did. But they obviously saw something in me maybe I didn't see in myself. Every year since then, I've been given new opportunities throughout the business, and loving everyone that I get.
The first thing that comes to mind is thanks for the opportunity. I get opportunity from them every day. I know there's failures and I know there's successes, but it's just part of a team, and I appreciate the team.
And it's been good and amazing to be able to work for people that are steadfast and truthful and honest and don't take people for granted.
Meeting Willis and Joan Dunnick and working with them pretty much changed my life and changed the trajectory of my life. And having them point out some potential that maybe I didn't even recognize, but they were willing to spend the time and the money to allow me to bring that out. And I will always be very grateful for what they brought to me. I would tell them, thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in me.
I specifically remember in '85 a gentleman coming into my office who had purchased a membership about 9-10 months before. He was a rancher down by Buffalo Gap. He walked in the door and he said, I don't want my membership anymore. And I said, why not? He said, well, I'm making these monthly payments, but he said, I don't get no value out of it. I said, how many times have you used it? He said, well, I haven't yet. I said, go out and use it and come back next year and talk to me about it. He came back the next year and he said, you know what, this is really working. He said, and he came back about 3 years after that, and he said, I'm so glad that you didn't let me cancel my membership. He said, I have seen the United States and I could not have afforded to see it if I wasn't a member. That kind of thing sticks with you. That doesn't mean everybody has that same experience, but when you have a person who you've actually changed their life by having a membership, and we do that every day to hundreds of people I don't even know, but that one I remember. That one I remember. And when you can do that for somebody, that gives you purpose in what you're doing every day.